Welcome to Fulfillment Project. Today is a special episode. I feel like I say that every time, but today is really special. It's my first in-person interview. We've got Colin Stroud here. Colin, thank you for joining us in studio today. What's happening, man?
It's good to be here. This is my first in-person podcast ever. I'm not a frequent podcast guest, but it feels good. And it was fun to watch you figure this out for the last 20 minutes.
I mean, truly, Colin watched my backside as I was crawling all over the table, configuring the cameras, testing angles, and hoping the microphone works. So if this podcast goes out next Monday, that means it all came together.
It means it works.
Crazy. So, Colin, I wanted you on the podcast today because the whole idea is fulfillment. It's going through the struggles of life and making the best of it, extracting the most joy we can out of every day, every situation. And you're a guy that I know, I'm getting to know better, but you had a job, you were looking for something different. And that's when you launched your current company. And let's go there. But first, tell me about you and your family. So, are you married?
Yeah. The basics of me are I'm married and got married in 2021 to my wife, Annie. And we got married before my senior year of college. So it was a little bit out there, but she was 2 years ahead of me. So I didn't want her to keep hanging around for me. So we just decided to get married, which the school was accommodating of, and it worked. The harder part was getting pregnant within about 16 days of getting married. Which means if you can do math, the baby was due before school was over. So that was the whole thing. So married with 2 kids, 3.5 and 1-ish-year-old, and both little girls, and they're awesome. So that's me right now.
Well, and babies require diapers. Diapers require money. I never made money as a cop. I think I made $100 a week DJing at the local bar on Thursday nights. So you've been through some stuff.
Yeah, the timing with money wasn't too bad in that the baby was born in February, and I had a job starting in May, and Annie had a full-time job with some...
Oh, because she was 2 years ahead of you, so she
had maternity leave, so we had some maternity pay. So it worked. It wasn't ideal, but it wasn't like the end of the world. So she supported me. She supported us, for sure.
God bless her. So I know I've heard many people say it. This is my personal experience. The best way to achieve happiness in life is to go about life in an ordered way. You go to school, you get married, you have children. And when that gets put out of order, life turns chaotic. You have children before marriage, you never get married. It can really throw things off. You start living together before you're married. It just makes life really complicated. And you're a man that seemingly knew what he wanted, and you married your wife. You married your fiance at the time in college.
Yeah.
So that she wouldn't run away for someone else.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It wasn't ideal, and it wouldn't be something I would even necessarily recommend to each person. But the numbers worked out, the emotions worked out. It was 2 really supportive families. So it made sense. Could we have waited another year? Sure. But we didn't think that was going to be a good thing for our relationship, for anyone. And it's like, we can get married. It's not ideal, but when is it ever ideal? So we just do it. So we did it.
It's never ideal. There's always a reason to wait a little longer. And in our case, I mean, you bring up a good point though. It's always hard to talk broad strokes because your situation, you had 2 supportive families. Annie, your wife, is a particular type of woman that could do that. You're a particular type of man that could do that. Sometimes people try and paint with a broad stroke, and it's like, well, my case was we were dating long distance the whole time we were dating. And I was in Michigan. My wife was in Virginia, or my fiance. And I wanted to live together in the same city for a year. And that just seemed to make sense to me. Like, hey, let's do normal things together. Because every time we'd get together, it was like a big thing. Because it was like a long weekend, maybe a week if we were lucky. And my dad said to me, "What don't you know about her?" And I couldn't come up with anything. He said, "What will living in close proximity, like going to the grocery store, is there something she could do at the grocery store that would change your mind?" I was like, "That's great." No. So I sat with that for a couple of days. Being a ignorant youth, I couldn't give it up immediately. But over the course of a couple of weeks sitting with it, I was like, no, you're right. That was New Year's Eve. I'll never forget it. That was a New Year's Eve conversation. We were sitting around. He asked me that question, and Valentine's Day actually is when I proposed 2 months later. So it took a little while, took me a month, and then I just made it happen because it's like, why wait?
Yeah, it just didn't make sense to wait. So we haven't regretted the decision at all, obviously, and I'm glad we did, because it would just been kicking the can down the road, honestly. Yeah, it would have not been. Being engaged is very challenging, in my opinion. It's not a great season. Like it's very challenging for so many different reasons. Anyway, anyone who says otherwise, I'd love to hear your opinions, because it's very challenging. So it's just to get it over with kind of thing, to be married, which is what we ultimately are made for and what we want.
Totally. Well, and in my case, I don't know about you, but we were living a chaste lifestyle. We weren't having premarital sex. So like engagement feels so close yet so far away. And there's all the wedding planning and there's everything else going on. So it's like, I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
I always tell newly engaged couples, if you can get through the engagement, if you can plan a wedding together, it's like a great step for marriage. Yeah. It only gets harder, but like if you can't even get the wedding planning done without chaos, then you're not going to make it.
Yep. That's very good advice.
So marriage, kids require money. You have your own business. That's a crazy thing. Do you make money?
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, because for anyone who doesn't know me, which is probably many or most, I get most of my leads in my business through LinkedIn. So at this point, I would probably have reached LinkedIn influencer status, whatever that officially is. But that's like the meme or the joke, right? That all these people online aren't actually making any money.
Yeah.
Like the rented private jet type thing, or the rented Bugatti kind of. You hear jokes about that with internet entrepreneurs, quote unquote. But no, I'm making real money now for the first time. So I quit my job in November 2024. Today is December 25. And so I made it now like 11 months of self-employment income without taking money out of savings. Well, I did once, but that was for a different thing. So that's a longer story. But technically, we have made enough money each month.
You're cash flowing your life, your family life. Yeah. And so you live up the road from me, so I know you live in a great place. Yeah. I see your car in the driveway of the studio here. It's a beautiful car. And you're doing it. It's not just all rented just to post online to look like you're doing it.
It is. Yeah, we're surviving. We've been thriving. It's been great. So I can't. Yeah, it was a huge fear, risk. I got some advice not to go full time by some people, but ultimately,
if I would have given you advice, which I didn't, I would have said, dude, keep a paycheck going with a company and slowly but surely build your business. That's probably what everyone said. And then
I did do that. So I did. Okay, that's what I did. Yeah. So we can get into that. But I waited until I had surpassed my full-time job's income with my side hustle 2 months in a row. So in that sense, it didn't feel very dangerous, because I had already made more money on the side with my business than I was making full-time. So it wasn't actually that scary, but it was still scary because it's a big thing. But the math would show I have the potential to do that. So that was very reassuring, and I think that's why like my parents didn't really push back.
Yeah, well, and that makes sense, because that would be, I know a lot of guys that I counsel who are working on their own businesses, and that's always my advice to them is like, hey, if you are actually passionate about this, it's not a flash in the pan. Work your butt off nights, weekends.
Yeah.
And make it happen. And then if it actually has teeth and sinks in, then in 6 months, a year, whenever, however long it takes, you just go do your thing and leave your job. But like, number one, let's make sure there's actually money there. And number two, make sure it's just not better. You hate your current job, so you go jump to do something different real quick. And it's just you were running away from a job you hated instead of running towards something that had real prospects.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I did 15 months, I think it was. It's hard to remember exact dates. 15 months of on the side. So nights, weekends, early mornings. And then at the very end, just quite candidly, it was like the lines got a little blurry between my full-time job. Like at the last month, it was like.
Everyone, hey, if you haven't already gone over to my Substack and signed up for a free or premium membership, why don't you go do that right now? There's so much stuff. Every Monday morning, you get the newest, latest episode, either a long form or a monologue on a big topic by me. Every Wednesday, you get the self-reflection guide, all my notes, all my memos, and so much more. And by signing up, you will get my free book emailed to you in PDF form right now. Thank you so much.
I could work all day and night on my business and I still wouldn't get all my stuff done. And I was like, okay, this must be a sign it's time to quit. So yeah, it was a lot of work, but I would recommend that to anyone because I do meet occasionally people will reach out now. I want to be like you and I got this job. I'm going to quit and I'm going to go in all in on whatever. And bro, you haven't made any money yet.
Yeah.
You have to prove you can make some money at least. I don't think everyone has to do what I did, which is surpass their income. But that's a little bit of my income was really low, so it was helpful. If you have a high income, then that's a lot harder. So it's different for everyone. But yeah, it's not. I mean, you shouldn't just go cold turkey and start something.
Right on. And for anyone thinking about podcasting as a career, because it seems fun, I love it. I spend all my extra time on this. I've been doing it for 8 months, over 100,000 views, zero money. Every camera, every microphone is through the good graces of my wife that allows me to buy this stuff as a hobby. And I don't even know if the goal is monetization. I just love talking to you, talking to people all over the world. But people think, oh, other people make money podcasting. That's what I want to do. And then there's a famous story of a guy that took out a loan for $100,000, built a beautiful studio, way more beautiful than this, all top-end gear. And then he did a couple and ended up selling it all because it wasn't for him and lost money on the deal. So yeah, I love your real life experience of making sure it was a good fit. How did your company react when you told them you were leaving to do your thing? Did they kind of have an idea?
My boss, CEO, who I was working for, did not know much about, I knew she knew I did this, but she's just so far out of like the digital world. She was an amazing boss. But she's not in this like online influencer, like make money on the internet world. So it's just like so foreign to her because again, it's not her life. So she knows doing it. Because I told them when I was interviewing, I was like, listen, I do have this side hustle. It's really important to me. Is that okay? I can continue it. And they're like, yeah, as long as it's not on company time, you do what you want. I said, okay, awesome. And, and so she was definitely surprised, I think. Like, wait, he's doing this? He's quitting his job?
Yeah.
And so she was surprised. But I mean, they were very supportive and kind. I remember that even the HR lady from she reached out to figure out the final, the paychecks and all that stuff. And she's like, I just want to tell you, like, what you're doing is so cool. I just checked out your stuff when I got the email that you were leaving. I can't even believe you're doing this. Like, it's amazing. And I just thought I was so kind of her. So they were all very excited for me, honestly. Well, I didn't get any bad blood for sure.
I just was looking at research last week. 77% of people feel unfulfilled at work. So that means most people look at someone like you and they think he's escaping.
Yeah.
It's like prisoners in a prison cell seeing you walking out the front door thinking, what did he do that I could do? Like, I want a piece of that. And a lot of stuff is flash in the pan because they don't see the 15 months of work every morning, every night, every weekend, you putting in the work, the hours. Influencing seems so fun, but it's like what you see is the tip of the iceberg, and what it actually is. Am I right or am I wrong there?
No, you're totally right. And there's a lot of that, this is almost cliche because you hear this from a lot of top people, but kind of must be nice thing. Must be nice to get so many inbound leads. It's like, well, I did work to get those inbound leads, so it's like, it is nice to get inbound leads. Yeah. Every business wants that, but this is getting into the story of it a little bit, but yeah, it's kind of that, on what you're saying. It was my two brothers-in-law and my wife had both built large-ish, now very large, but at the time, large-ish followings on social media. And it was that exact feeling, like, well, are they smarter than me?
Yeah.
Not in my opinion. Are they better than me? Are they more articulate? It's like, no, none of these things. One was actually, my brother-in-law is like 6 years younger than me. So I'm like, that guy, he's a child. He literally was a teenager and he's this far ahead of me. That's not, if he can do it, why can't I? And so that ultimately is what got me put my first post out was, well, these people are doing it. Why I should be able to do that? And it felt unfair because it felt like they had already escaped and I was stuck. And I hated that feeling. But luckily I didn't have a bitter attitude. I had a pretty positive. Oh, I can do this too attitude. So I'm thankful. There was probably a little bit of bitterness, but I think it quickly was replaced by optimism and excitement that I could possibly do this.
Yeah, well, it was positive insofar as it gave you the fuel
in
the fire to see it through. So when you were trapped and you were looking at them, what did you think about their life? And now that you're kind of living a similar type of life, what was it real? Like what you thought they lived, was that real or was it different than you expected?
Well, I think I was probably too focused on this whole concept of flexibility and owning your own time,
Mm,
and my brother-in-law, Dominic, who's the host of the Running Effect podcast, anyone wants to look him up, um, yeah, I kind of imagine that he had this incredibly luxurious, in terms of time, lifestyle. He does
yeah.
whatever he wants. And now the more I know about him, the more I see he's bogged down by emails, requests, things. And then looking at my own life now as I'm basically doing exactly what he was doing, like I am where he was. I'm bogged down by email. I'm working double the amount I did at at the corporate job, but I get to choose when and where I do it, which is actually to some people not that much of a luxury. Now, I still feel like it is a huge luxury for me, but I think it's silly to imagine, or I think at the time I imagined, triple the money,
Yeah.
less hours. You just put on your pajamas and bang out a few emails at home, and that's not been the case. It's been, up till 1 a.m. trying to desperately finish the stuff because the next day is 7 straight hours of calls. And I'm not going to have more stuff to finish after that. And and someone might be mad at me because something I sent them didn't work, and it's just stressful. And it's like, this is way harder than the corporate job, but I don't want to go back to the corporate job. So I'm definitely, I'll keep doing this for sure. It's way more fulfilling.
Well, yeah,
It's fun. Yeah.
and it's why you have more ceiling room than in the corporate job is because it's all on you. And I think one thing that might lead to fulfillment is the agency you have. You're working more, which is a huge misnomer. Everyone I talk to that wants to start their own business thinks they work because they've seen some YouTube video 5 hours a week and make $100,000 a year. And it's like, dude, I've never met anyone that works 5 hours a week and makes that type of money.
Yeah.
And it's all fake because you're running your own business. You are everything. You are HR. You are marketing. You are sales. You are the CEO. And the agency component, do you think that's why you're working more and feeling more fulfillment? Because the corporate job is safe. You go in, so long as you show up basically and you do your job, which is typically pretty simple for most people, you're getting a paycheck. Is it the agency? I did a podcast a little while ago on agency. Do you think that's why you feel more fulfilled? Is because you own you're working 12 hours a day, but you own those 12 hours. Everything you do is for a purpose.
Yeah, totally. I mean, we all remember school and like busy work, that concept where the Spanish teacher or the math teacher give you this worksheet and you know it's irrelevant towards the test, towards the overall class, but she was having a bad day or whatever, and she gave you this worksheet of word problems that is so irrelevant and dumb, and you have to do it because it's part of your grade.
Yeah.
And I think every job has to have that. Now, frankly, owning your own business has that stuff too. Like I have to go and update my address on my LLC because I moved, and I do not want to go like call the state of Ohio, or I don't even know what you have to do that. It's going to be painful.
Yeah.
Probably gonna have to sign some form, so that's annoying. But at the end of the day, it's all mine, and that's. I remember saying that when I first started, and before I even went full time. And I'm not sure I actually believe this, but I remember saying it. And I think I still believe this, which is, I would, if I could just clean toilets for a living, if I had a toilet cleaning business, if it was mine, I would be happy. I'd be fulfilled because I just want my own agents. I want agency. I want my own thing. So I get to do something fun, which is travel, which I've always loved. But I actually think that if the option was a job or the toilet cleaning business, it would still be my own. So it'd be awesome, even though it's toilet cleaning, which is not even necessarily a business. You know what I mean? Like
Totally.
take something silly or even something that people hate or disgusting. It's like the agency is so almost addicting in a positive sense of it just feels so good.
Yeah, like the power of owning what you're doing, even if it's something as ridiculous as cleaning a toilet.
Yeah.
That feels more fulfilling to you than a corporate job where you have very little agency. You're told what to do every day of the week for the whole year, for your whole life.
Yeah, totally. And I totally understand that not everyone feels that way. And I think that's probably a good thing is probably a lot of young males to probably feel like they have to feel that way. And if they don't, that's okay. But I definitely think, I think most people probably would relate to that and want that. But that doesn't mean entrepreneurship is for everyone. But my dad's an entrepreneur, And I watched him go through the cycle of like have agency, not have go back to steady paycheck, go back to having agency, go back. Like he actually flip flopped a few times,
Yeah.
and finally I was like, I need my own thing, and he's been most happy doing his own thing. And so there's probably a little bit of that inherited in the blood, in the genetics.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, and your dad's amazing. I mean, I met him before I met you. I don't know if we can drop his name, but
Yeah,
Dr.
yeah.
Stroud in Indiana runs an amazing fertility practice and midwife practice. And we would drive hours just to see him because there's no one like him
Yeah.
around. And I'll never forget sitting down with him. I mean, when you go to the doctor, quick tangent, but talk about this is the beauty of agency. I have shivers thinking about him. He's so impactful to us. The beauty of agency is you can run your life the way you want. And the way he wants to run his practice is be present for his patients.
Yeah.
And fertility is such a personal thing. And we'd been to University of Michigan, we'd been to Cleveland Clinic, all the best places in the country. And you see the doctor for like 15 minutes.
Mhm.
You know, we struggle with this every day. And the doc comes and goes, and your dad. So that's what we expected when we finally ended up in his office. And we actually go into his office, not like some random sterile room, but like his office.
Yeah.
Huge statue of Saint Michael the Archangel, 1 billion diplomas behind him, like everything. He's a doctor, he's an MBA, he's everything from all the best universities in the country. And I think he gave us 60 minutes, 90 minutes. I couldn't believe how much time he was giving us. And he truly saw us. And that was really beautiful that he was able to build that practice. And I think that agency, probably he could make more money if he did it a different way.
Totally.
But he wants to do it this way. Therefore, he's fulfilled. And what's money? You know, money is not fulfillment. So I think he's an amazing example of that.
Yeah, he does awesome stuff. And I'm sure, I guess he's fine with me sharing. He makes the least money on that stuff. The money's in the other stuff, but he spends most of his time on the stuff that doesn't actually make the most money, which is the fertility stuff, because it's the most impactful. And I really respect that about him. It's really cool. Because you make more money doing robotic surgery or something, right?
Right on.
Or having births or something, but he chooses to spend hours and hours and hours doing those unscalable consultations. You know what I mean? They're awesome. So,
but man, when he's on his deathbed, he will have affected so many people, like in the most positive way. And I say that because I hope when I'm on my deathbed, it's like moving to people like, wow, Andy impacted me.
Yeah.
Not just Andy sold me this widget, this and that, but like I would almost travel anywhere in the whole country to go to his funeral to honor him and respect him because of the impact he had in our life. And I hope people feel that about me. Like, and for the audience, like, what are we thinking about sometimes our work doesn't allow us to impact society. Well, then what are we doing with our hobbies and our side time to impact people positively so we actually have a positive influence in the world so that at the end of our days, it's for something. It's not just so we can buy a new pair of Louis Vuitton slippers, you know?
Yeah.
So let's get back to you. And first of all, I got to shout out Dom, your brother-in-law, Dom. He was my inspiration to start this. On a walk with him, he encouraged me, and I put out my first Substack post that night.
No way.
And it's amazing. So to think of someone like him, like he's doing his own business and he works so much, similar to what you were saying, but he makes time for me. He made time for you. I know he helps so many people along the journey of content creation that he actually has a whole Substack article on like step by step what to do, which is amazing. And the number one thing at the end is like consistency. You can't do anything without consistency. So like he's giving back in a non-business related way. He makes no money from me. He couldn't. There is no money to be made here. But it's like, but that's the way he impacts. He helps other people achieve their purpose, which is really cool. So, and you're really humble about what I love about your LinkedIn profile. You're one of my favorites to watch. You and my buddy Ike, who's a CPA, and he posts about like crazy CPA stories that happened to him. But for you, you're real. So like the other day, maybe a month ago, you were talking about you have to figure out how to budget your time better because you're waking up really early. You're working all day. You do work from home, so you get to have lunch with your family. But it's like you're working till 2, 3, 4 a.m. Have you right-sized that? Have you figured that out? Or are you still cranking?
Yeah, it's an ongoing struggle, and I'm always scared to think I figure something out because it could just be seasonality of things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If there's a busier season, which I've yet to figure out, be able to predict exactly. So we're recording this close to Christmas. Things have slowed down the last 2, 3 weeks. So I've already settled into, I got this all figured out. But I actually, if I look at the number of calls I've had, I've been 50% less than what I was doing all of September, October, November. So that means I don't have it figured out probably. But yeah, I've implemented all kinds of different things to try and organize my time. Like the core of my business is consulting calls with business owners that spend a lot of money on credit cards. And so I only take calls, theoretically only now, 12 to 4:30 Monday through Thursday, which means that theoretically, instead of having to work 3 hours at night from 9 p.m. to midnight, I can work 1 hour and then have, the morning hours before noon
Before your calls kick in to get
to
the
do all
other
the other
office
stuff I
work
need
done.
to do. And so theoretically that's should work, and it has been working, but I just made that change, and so we'll see. But the thing is, stuff comes up, and I don't like to go to bed with things hanging over me. So part of me is like, am I willing to risk, having given myself the whatever time in the morning to get everything done, because you never know what's going to hit you that day.
Right
But
on.
I'm working on it, and I'm trying. And I think, frankly, too, part of me, part of me wants to feel bad for myself, and it's like, I'm up so late, but I need to realize who I am and where I am. I'm only 20. I just turned 26. I'm a brand new baby business owner, really. Like I'm not trying to optimize for 5 hours a week of work. Like I'm trying to grow my income exponentially to be able to do the things that we want to do. And so if I look at my situation, I'm like, really? Like if I told anyone my goals,
Yeah.
they'd be like, well, you need to work more. They wouldn't say scale back to a nice, comfortable lifestyle business. And at the end of the day, like I do have extreme luxury and extreme like flexibility. So I'm
Yeah.
fine. I'm fine. Like it's easy, like yeah. My point. It's easy to kind of lament. Oh, I was up so late last night, but I get to do so many things that some people don't get to do. Just like take a random Friday off and spend it all day with the kids doing things. So
Hey, my friends, I've got my new book out and I want you to experience it. You can do it two ways. One, you go to Amazon right now, search Fulfillment Project. You get a hardcover or a soft cover. Reflections on each episode from season 1 of Fulfillment Project, a beautiful summary, key quotes, and then room to journal. If you want to start journaling and you don't quite know how, this is a great way to start. Makes a great coffee table book. I was very intentional about making it as beautiful as a Neanderthal like me could make it. If you don't want to pay for it, go to substack.com right now, subscribe to my Substack newsletter for free, and I will immediately send you an email with a free PDF download of the book so you can still participate with it that way. Thank you so much.
I'm fine, but I'm working on ways to be a little bit smarter with my time.
And I love people that are hungry like you.
Yeah.
You inspire me so much because I want to work. Like we were made to work. We were made for productivity. We were not made to sit around and be couch potatoes and eat, which is what I think I want to do until I do it for a day and then I feel like a piece of garbage, And so if I'm working, I want to love what I'm doing. I want to be super hyped up about my job. And I am. I'm one of the fortunate few that gets to be hyped. And I've even dialed my retirement vision over the last couple of years where I never expect until the day I die to have a week where I don't work 5 to 6 days a week. Because what would I be waking up for? If I don't have a purpose to wake up for, then I'm dead already. If I'm not giving back, if I'm not being, and I'm not saying I need a salary my whole life, but like some purpose, I need to be going somewhere, mentoring, doing something good for the community, for the church, whatever. But retirement is a hoax. Retirement was made to sell people airline tickets to Florida and condos on the coast. And you look at people that live that lifestyle, they play golf, they get drunk, they eat food, and it's like, it's all very self-serving. Like everyone's idea of retirement is all very self-serving, which to me feels hollow. Like just on the surface, I could be wrong. I've never lived it. I've never had but am I wrong? Am I crazy?
No, it's hard for me to think about like that far out of like what I actually want. But no, I mean, even the thought is like most people's goal, I would think, would be grandkids. And we see our parents with their grandkids and that role and how important that is to us and them. And it's like, yeah, would you really just go off to Florida, theoretically 1,000 miles away from your grandkids, depending, obviously location, but and just golf and drink. And I mean, I also like Florida, but it seems like the one of the most fulfilling things you can do once you're in your 60s, 70s is it's grandkid related things. Maybe number one, maybe it depends. Maybe, and then number two would be some continuation of whatever your business was. Like if I become some business tycoon, which would be fun, I would love an opportunity to help other people do that in my 60s and 70s, assuming I'm still relevant enough for people to listen to me.
Yeah.
And maybe make some money doing that. That sounds so much more fun, and then grandkid related things being right there with it.
Big time.
And also, yeah, kids too. I mean, they'd be adults by the time I'm 70, but they would still need me. Still need us for sure,
Being a parent of a 1 and a 4-year-old, and I know you've got young kids too, being a grandparent sounds so amazing. I love my kids so much. It's amazing, but it's also so hard. The middle of the night stuff, the attitude stuff, the discipline stuff. And to be a grandparent, it's like the best parts of parenting without the hard parts of parenting.
Without the discipline and the sleep deprivation. So.
It's like the cuteness, the snuggles, the reading, the experiences. Yeah. And then you just like hand them back when it's time to go to bed.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah. So I'm with you.
So how'd you get your idea for your business? And by the way, one reason I love having this conversation with you, Colin, is because you're doing it. You're in the thick of it. Sometimes people have podcast guests on, and I have too. They're multimillionaires. They've already done it. They're kind of on the other side. So it feels a little bit like when I listen to that, it's like, yeah, easy for you to say.
Yeah.
Easy for you to talk about fulfillment. You're there. And they talk about the glory stories to get to where they're at. But like, you're in the thick of it. So that's why I love talking to you. You're in the trenches just like I am, man. We're in like the grunt years of our life working. What gave you your idea to start your company?
Yeah, I was working at a corporate job I didn't like, and I wanted to do something internet related, basically. And yeah, talked to Dominic, looked at him, looked at my other brother-in-law, my wife, all these people doing stuff online. I was on LinkedIn already seeing people successful.
Yeah.
I was seemingly successful on there. I thought this LinkedIn thing seems cool. I'm going to start posting on LinkedIn. I didn't really have a business idea yet, but I was like, I'm just going to start sharing because I want to write. My wife was really encouraging me because she's been writing online. She's been publishing stuff since she was like 13 years old. She had a blog spot at 13 and was doing like young adult novel reviews of these books. And she even got paid for some of this stuff at like 13, 14, 15 years old.
No way.
Yeah. And so my wife has been publishing for, what is it, like 12 years straight, basically, something every month, every week, whatever it is.
Well, I know my wife follows her and she's amazing. Like when Shannon reads me, your wife Annie's stuff, it's moving, man. What's her, for the audience, what's her website? Where do people get her?
The Catholic Hype Woman is her name on Instagram, which I think is a great name. And then that's her website too, CatholicHypeWoman.com, I think. So she does cool stuff. Most of it's just free, reflections, but she does guides and devotionals, and like she's doing an Advent community right now for women. Like it's like $27 and you're part of a community, and she's giving a daily reflection throughout Advent. So she does cool stuff like that.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So she's encouraging you. She's like, hey, I've been doing this. You can do this. You should do this.
So I started posting, and it was more like generic platitudes, if you will. It wasn't like Martin Luther King once said. I didn't do anything that maybe cheesy, but it was more like finance. So I was reading a book. So I just read this book, and here's my thoughts.
Yeah.
And it was a little bit personal finance stuff because I always been really interested in money, personal finance, math, like that kind of thing. And then I did a few credit card points posts because I was talking about personal finance.
Yeah.
And because I had just gotten into points because like many people are into points, right? I feel like everyone's into points. It's this sell is so easy, spend money, get points, and travel for free. It's like, it's the easiest sell of all time.
Yeah.
So I was doing that. I had just gotten into points a little bit. And, I think I even had already got a trip booked to Rome with points for, I used my points for flights. So I was a little bit high on points. So I threw out a few posts, and the first one I did went viral. Like for me, it was viral, like 50,000 impressions viral, which for me at the time with like 1,000 followers felt huge and crazy to me. And so I thought, oh, wow. And so I wanted to start a business, and I basically had two ideas at that point because I always loved travel. So it was, I'm going to teach people how to use points, or I'm going to teach people on LinkedIn how to play piano, which is dumb because I've played piano my whole life. Music was like my life in high school and early college. I even got into a few like music schools, like piano programs and stuff.
So you're legit at piano.
Well, I was legit. I'm not like, I'm honest. I don't want to sound like falsely humble, but I'm truly not very good anymore compared. Like I was pretty good.
Yeah.
I would say. And now I'm just kind of average. I've just lost it. So I'm doing too much business stuff now. I was like, well, that seems like a little departure from LinkedIn is teaching someone piano, but I had all these ideas in my head of like, get away from the stress of your business and learn this great skill. And I thought maybe that's not a good idea. So I decided to do the points thing. Mm-hmm. So I just started posting about points. I just was like, I'm going to try and just become the points guy. There was one other guy on LinkedIn talking about credit card points. And to me, he was a giant. Like he had 7,000 followers and I thought and he had a course and I thought, a course? Like I couldn't, like that's advanced, you know, and I bought his course, you know, and I was upset. I thought this guy was, you know, the greatest thing ever because he's the only other person on LinkedIn I could find upon deep searching that talked about credit card points. Yeah. But I thought I'll never reach him, but I could at least be second place. So anyway, yeah, so that's how I started. And so I just started posting stuff on LinkedIn and about points. Here's how to fly to Hawaii with points. Here's how to do this, whatever. Just kind of basic stuff. Probably you would know how to do most of the stuff I shared about. The average, like any average points user would. And then I just got a lot of interest and people wanted to get on the phone with me. So I started doing phone calls. And then I thought, well, I could probably charge money for this. And so that's how I made my first dollar was I do, you know, someone DMs me, can we talk on the phone more about this stuff? I was like, well, I do offer consultations for a low fee or whatever. It was like, I either did $45 or $75 and I can't even remember now. It's gotten too convoluted in my head, but that's how I made my first dollar. Someone paid me for my time to get on the phone and help them figure out points. Which is extremely
valuable for for the service you're providing.
Yeah, I think
it's insane. Yeah. So I'm probably a super fan of yours. I track most posts. And the stories you share about trips you have booked for families are out of this world. I mean, and I'm sure you can't even post them all, everything you're doing. But like in your mind's eye, what's the craziest thing you booked for somebody or like the most valuable trip you booked for somebody?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what you value and even, you know, some people optimize for what's the least cash out of pocket I can pay for a trip. How much can I get? Or they'll say, what's the craziest trip? I'm okay dropping $10,000 cash because I'm getting a $70,000 trip. You know, so it depends on your income level where you are with that. But I did help 2 people this year do a very similar trip, which was Emirates business class in the famous A380 with the shower on board and stuff. Emirates business class to Dubai, with layover in Dubai onto the Maldives. So for those listeners who aren't familiar with Maldives, just Google it. It's considered it's basically the pinnacle of tropical luxury travel. It's an island off the coast of India that's has all these different islands and resorts and overwater bungalows. So most people who are familiar with overwater bungalows, right, they think of the Maldives and they see those pictures.
Yeah, and if you're not familiar with it, it's probably your screensaver without realizing.
No, it really is. So it's like the classic blue water. Anyway, so Emirates business class flights, round trip, stopover.
Take me quick onto this plane with a shower. I'm not familiar with that.
So Emirates, so the Airbus A380 is the largest passenger plane in existence right now, I think. The Emirates is a Dubai-based airline that has a first class aboard that plane that has a shower suite. So you can book if you're in first class, you get a private enclosed suite, but you also get access to the shower. So I helped one guy flew first class, the other flew business class, which is still the lie flat bed, all the stuff, but you actually don't get access to the shower in business class.
So, but you got to share the shower? Like, do you?
Oh, sorry, no. It looks like everyone gets 15 minutes in the shower or something like that.
No way. So before you land, you get showered up, you get combed up, and you get off that plane feeling like $1 million.
Yeah.
Everyone else in economy coach where I go is feeling like a piece of garbage. You want to sleep for a week.
And it's a long way. So it's pretty amazing. So Google Emirates A380 shower if someone wants to Google that. It's pretty crazy. So they did that, which those flights can be $10,000 round trip a person minimum, you know, and they used points. And then they did the overwater bungalow stays in the Maldives, which those hotels can be $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a night, like crazy hotels. Now, one thing points can't cover is the $47 cheeseburger at those hotels. Like the food is crazy expensive.
Yeah.
there's really not an effective way to use points to cover that. And that's why I talk about the cash budget. These people will go to the Maldives and literally drop $5,000 just on the basics.
In the resort, just living day to day.
Yeah, which is a little bit unrelatable people, but it is fun to help with those. So that's probably my flashiest things. This year I did 2 of those. One was actually both were honeymoons. So both took about 1 million points. Usually, both of these are actually primarily American Express points. And yeah, but I mean, beyond that, like there's been so many crazy things. Even numbers that are weird. Like one guy booked 3 rooms over last Christmas for his family, because they have like a big family at this super nice resort in St. Kitts in the Caribbean. And the total bill ended up being like $37,000 worth of hotel rooms, 3 like suites on the beach at an extremely expensive hotel at peak dates of the whole year. And I can't remember what the math on it was, but it was like a fifth of the amount of points you would think, like a fraction amount, like only a few 100,000 points for like $34,000 of stays. So there's just been so many like that it's honestly hard to keep track of, and so many flashy things. So it's been fun to be a part of those.
That's crazy to think like, okay, I got a $10,000 flight, and that's 2 people. That's $20,000 in flights on Emirates. Then you go $2,000 to $3,000 a night in this bungalow. Let's say you're there for a week. So that's 2 times 5 is $10,000 for your hotel room, $10,000 to $20,000 in your hotel room. So you're at $40K already for this trip. So it makes sense on a trip of that scale, which is hard for a lot of people to imagine, including me.
Yeah, and me too.
I'd like to know.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, of course, it's $47 for a cheeseburger and $12 for a fry, and $30 for a cocktail. So there is a significant cash out of the pocket. But if you have someone who's earning 1 million credit card points, these must be, are all your people high net worth? How do you accumulate that many points on a credit card?
Well, yeah, there's basically 3 categories, I'd say. There's the people I like to talk to, I probably try primarily focus on is high spending business owners.
So they're running their business transactions.
So my parents, which I'm sure they'd be fine sharing, like they spend like $40,000 a month just on supplies to keep their business going. Walk down the street, the local dentist, the local whatever, they're spending more probably, So there's 1 million small business owners out there, and they spend huge amounts of money to keep their businesses going, typically on credit cards. And so those people, it's pretty easy to see how they would earn that many points. It stacks up quite quickly. Second would be points hoarders. So I met a couple who was very much middle to low income, but they had 2 million Capital One miles. And I said, I'm sorry, I don't understand, like, because they're shared like, yeah, we spend about $3,000 a month on our cards. I'm like, okay, you're not like rich. So I'm just trying to put it together. She's like, yeah, we got the cards in, I think, 2001,
No, and they never spent a point.
So they've been accumulating points for 23 years or whatever it was. And so, okay, that makes sense, which I think is a poor decision, by the way, because points devalue, so you should use them. And then the third category would be credit card churners. So people who open 2 to 10 credit cards a year. So one of the guys
for the sign-up bonuses?
Yeah. So if you're married, right, you can do that. So you're married, me and my wife each open up 4 cards a year, as we average 100,000 points per welcome bonus. And there's 8 total cards. And we got 800,000 points. With our normal spending, maybe we're up to 900, maybe we're close to 1 million now. So you could do that. It has poor long-term effects, probably. I wouldn't recommend that. But people do that. And then they'll come to me and say, hey, I got all these points. I'm not quite sure how to use them well.
Especially because they're so spread out at that. I mean, I used to do that when we first got married and had no money. It's like, how do we do a vacation? Well, let me get a couple Delta cards. Let me get the Marriott card, and we'll scratch together a vacation that way. And for years, I was like, oh my gosh, okay, Delta, I learned you can only do every other year because they like black you out. And so you start to learn the tricks of the trade. But then it becomes so much maintenance, and then you got to stitch these trips together, and it's
it becomes too much administratively to handle that many cards. It just is a nightmare, and the annual fees become pretty substantial. Like I mean, people spending $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 a year on annual fees all the time because they have so many cards. So yeah, it's not always practical for most people to do that, but people do. And if you're a super organized person, you can. But I don't do that. It's just too much. I'm not that organized, honestly. And my wife is less organized for that kind of stuff than I
Yeah.
am. So she's not doing this. I can't really do it. So,
Right. But it makes
yeah.
sense. So you're booking someone a ten to $80,000 trip. It's worth your fee of a couple $1,000 to organize this because you're helping them implement an insane trip they could never imagine or just don't have the interest in going online and figuring it out. Do people come to you with locations or they say, hey, find what I can do with this?
Yeah, it's both. My recent like the focus I've the last couple months has been building what I call my points research service.
Yeah.
So you would say I've got 500,000 chase points. I don't know what to do with them. I find me a good deal. So I basically deal hunt for you. Now I have a guy who actually works for me now doing most of that because to be honest, hate doing that. It's incredibly taxing on my time. And I would spend an hour and a half and say, Andy, I found you this great deal. And you're like, my wife doesn't actually like Jamaica. And I'm like, oh, yeah, dude, you didn't tell me that. And because I found this deal in Jamaica or whatever, it's like, what about the British Virgin Islands? I'll get that email. And it's like an hour and a half of work down the drain.
Yeah.
And I usually charge them afterwards, which anyway. So now I have another guy doing that, doing some of that stuff for me. Yeah, people will sometimes say somewhere warm, or they'll say Europe anytime next year, or they'll say, April 11th through 19th to Dublin and Killarney or whatever, Ireland. So it gets very specific. Sometimes I'll just say I can't help if it gets super specific. Like I have to leave Friday. Like a guy just said, I have a meeting at 2 p.m. in Dallas, Fort Worth. I can't get to the airport until 10 p.m. whatever. I'm like, well, there's no flights to London that leave after. So I'm like, what do you want me to do here, man? This wouldn't even work if you had unlimited money. You'd have to fly private to make your schedule work. So I get really, really narrow requests like that. And so I'm very happy, and I say it all the time, which is like, sorry, I can't help. And I say that pretty often, which is just part of being a business owner, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and a gift to be able to turn it away. This is such a fascinating topic to me, maybe because travel is so sexy and everyone listening has credit card points. So, and everyone, most people, maybe not everyone, try to optimize for points. Everyone's trying to figure out how to get the most out of it. So what is the best way is there one way to utilize points? Like when I go to pay off my Amex, I can convert that to paying off just part of my statement balance. Is that a good way to do it? Or is that a bad way to do it?
Yeah, the metric that's important everyone understands, which I usually have to start every conversation I have with people with this because like we have to be on the same term. So it's the term cents per point. So there's a calculation for it, but I'd recommend people just, have you ever used a cents per point calculator online? No. Okay. It's so nice because there's this very complicated equation, but it's basically just measuring how much value am I getting per point. And so if you redeem, like a statement credit with Amex, I think is like 0.6 cents per point. Does that sound right? Or you haven't even looked? Okay.
I haven't even looked. I just see the dollar
typically
amount.
Your points are worth about 1 penny. So 100,000 points equals $1,000. Pretty simple. Sometimes if you use your Amex points for Amazon, it's going to be like your 100,000 points equals $600.
Oh, wow. So even less value. Yeah.
So your cents per point there is 0.6. Whereas if you used an Amex Travel, it's 1 cent per point. 1 cent is the threshold, the standard, the baseline.
Got it.
What people are paying me to do is go find them ways to get 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cents per point. Because it's possible, it's just confusing and challenging. Emphasis on confusing and challenging. So I'll basically say, let me take that burden on for you. If I find you a good deal, you can pay me. If not, it's all good. Don't pay me anything. And the way to do that is transferring points to airline and hotel partners. So if anyone has an Amex account, you've got 17 different airlines you can transfer to. Qatar, Singapore Airlines, British Airways, a bunch of kind of random ones that no one is thinking about using. But also Delta, also JetBlue, also
all the normal ones.
You have Hilton too. Like you have hotels, and some of these programs structure their points prices in a way that you can get amazing deals where you would get a $4,000 business class flight for only, let's say, 70,000 points, which would be like $700 worth of points for a $4,000 flight. That spread, that arbitrage, whatever you want to call it, that's the win. So that's the official best way to do it. But there's a million iterations of how you could do that. And that's where people, I'd say, typically just put their hands up and say, this is too confusing. Can you just do it for me? I say, oh, thanks for asking. So it actually is a good business because I hate to say this, financial advisors do this for sure. I almost create complexity, which I don't create. It's complex. I make people aware of the complexity,
Yeah.
and then I say, but I can do it. I can make it simple for you.
Right
Because
on.
most people aren't even aware of how complex points get. They just be like, oh, cash back. I just do that. And that's fine too. But the travel work can get really complex. And I make people aware of that and then help them do it easier.
So many
Yeah.
lessons from today's pod, Colin. One early on about just the business ownership as an entrepreneur and what people think it is versus what it actually is.
Yeah.
And then down to the point stuff. So many people are intrigued by it. I certainly am. Huge fan, huge follower. If people are interested, Colin Stroud on LinkedIn. Do you have a website or somewhere people go?
Yeah, so my business is called GoSomewhere. So the .com wasn't available. If anyone wants to give me $14,000 to buy it, I can. That's what they told me it would cost. So GoSomewhere.World is my website.
Oh, that's a cool little
yeah, it's
world.
fun. Yeah, except when I send emails to Microsoft, it gets marked as spam sometimes.
Oh,
yeah. .world is my GoSomewhere.World is my website, and Colin at GoSomewhere.World is my email.
I love that. I can only imagine. I mean, I'm thinking right now, like, what's my point balance here? I need to do something with this. I'm sure a lot of listeners are too. So it'll be cool for people to tune in to you, to follow you on LinkedIn, to see your posts. If nothing else, it's very entertaining to see what other normal people are doing with their points. And well, some of these people aren't normal. I mean,
they're
when you
not.
see some of these balances, you're like, holy smokes.
Yeah.
But that's awesome, man. Last question.
Okay.
Are you happy?
Yeah, I think so. Like that's a big question. But it's like sometimes I just get too bogged down in the day to day of all the stuff, and I have to step back and realize a year and a half ago. So one of my favorite Alex Hormozy quotes ever is, "You already have what you said would make you happy." I think that's
whoa.
And it's like a year and a half ago. Let's see. Maybe more like 18 months ago. Oh, no, that's the same. 24 months ago, I was making like $55,000 a year. We were in an apartment with little to no hope of getting out of that apartment financially. We had like $8,000 of savings. That was it. And some student loan debt hanging around from my wife and a new baby. And I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
And I was not doing well, like at work. Like I had any path to make more money at my job. And I was like, I really need to figure something out. And it's like fast forward to now, so many of those numbers have changed so dramatically.
Dramatically.
Wow, dramatically is the word. I was going to say drastically. Have changed
dramatically.
That should be a new word.
Yeah.
Have changed so dramatically. And I'm like, wow. But yet I woke up in kind of a fussy mood this morning because I didn't sleep that well. And it's like, what am I doing? So yeah, I am happy. And part of that is like a declaration because I have so many of the things that I said, like we have a house, we have a backyard that's fenced in.
Yeah.
I'm making more money. We have some more savings. Like,
and you have a massive pathway to more success.
Yeah. Massive pathway. I have 2 healthy children. You know, my wife likes me most of the time, you know, it's like, and so yeah, I am so thankful. And part of I do think with the happiness stuff, it's like, I need to recall all of those things. I need to remind myself, and remind myself like I am. And every time I start focusing on all the still missing pieces, like I was looking at a sauna on Costco's website and realized I can't afford this and I should not, this would be a bad decision to buy this $5,000 sauna. It's like, that's not, like, I should not be unhappy because I can't afford the sauna. It's ridiculous.
But some people would let that get in the way of their joy. Like they would have achieved everything you achieved, but that would all be blind to them. And they're just focused on the one thing they don't have.
Yeah.
And they let that destroy them instead of being like, oh my gosh, I'm a king. I wear a crown and I will have that sauna, just not today.
Yeah.
You know, and you have so much.
Yeah, it's huge. And actually, I'm thankful for my business and even my LinkedIn is half my calls start with someone saying something along the lines of, I'm such a fan. You're so cool. Like what you're doing is so cool. I can't believe that. Low key, man, I'm just really jealous. Like, I'm thankful for my job. I'm a financial advisor, but like, I would love to be doing something like you. And it's like, oh, it's a kick in the shin every time of like these guys who might even make more money than me or whatever, have definitely nicer houses than me. They're jealous of me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really strong. So I'm also trying to, I think I fixated so hard on money because I really felt the lack of money.
Ooh.
And now that, like, because I really felt it. Like, I had that strong taste of, oh my gosh, there is not enough money to cover the things, the very basic necessities. We're not talking about fancy stuff. And so I'm still recoiling from that a little bit, where I want to get to the point where I can say, yeah, money, it's not really important to me. It's like, no, it's extremely important to me right now. And I'm almost maybe unduly attached because I think I really felt the whole what it would be like to not have any.
Yeah.
Even though, like, at the end of the day, my parents would bail us out if something was really wrong, but you don't want to make that phone call.
No one's dream
does.
is to get bailed out by their parents.
Yeah. So anyway, that's a long answer to your question, but yeah, we're very happy and very thankful, which is maybe equally as important.
Oh my gosh.
I think I'm good with gratitude. So
Gratitude is the key to happiness. I think if you can't be grateful, it's the key to happiness and humility.
Yeah.
Gratitude recognizes some things are out of your control, and therefore humility. It's not all me. It's not all Andy doing what I'm doing. And it also helps you appreciate all the stuff going on in your life. Like, it gives you awareness of the things that you're grateful for.
Yeah.
And instead of just looking into the future for something I want one day when I get there, like, I can't be grateful for something I don't have. I'm grateful in the rearview mirror for everything that's happened. And it's like an awareness of good things. And so I love gratitude. I think it's critical. I think if you're not happy, the first thing you can do is be grateful. And I love your answer. That was the most beautiful answer to "Are you happy?" I've ever had. Because it's complex. It's nuanced.
Yeah.
And dude, you're an amazing man. We didn't even get into your Hawaii trip. You moved to Hawaii. You moved home.
Yeah.
And we'll have to say that for another day, Colin. But dude, thanks for coming by and visiting Fulfillment Project, my first in-person guest.
Yeah, we'll hope this makes it to the interwebs.
Yeah, this is actually recording right now.
Yeah, good to be here, man.
All right, brother. Love you, bro.
Love you, bro. Thank you.
Everyone, hey, if you haven't already gone over to my Substack and signed up for a free or premium membership, why don't you go do that right now? There's so much stuff. Every Monday morning, you get the latest episode, either a long form or a monologue on a big topic by me. Every Wednesday, you get the self-reflection guide, all my notes, all my memos, and so much more. And by signing up, you will get my free book emailed to you in PDF form right now. Thank you so much.